for watching Numbskull News. And today, no foreplay. We're just getting right into it. It's just like black porn. Straight to smashing, people. And talking about smashing, we got to look at that Texas Tech BYU game. This was not good for BYU. That line right there, that looks like a redshirt freshman line. Baron Morton, pretty damn good, accurate. But that defense, I mean, look at this shit. This is a scoring summary. That looks like domination. And then, of course, trash time, 7:35 left. Old Bear finally throws a touchdown pass. Team stats, my God in heaven. 67 yards rushing. Now, what's not in these stats is BYU, the best special teams in the league. But this day, not so much. Texas Tech owned that too. All three phases of the game. Thus, BYU Cougars come away with their first loss of the season and a monster loss at that. If you are I don't know. And by the way, Tech, they're going to run the table here. All apologies to UCF and West Virginia. They're looking better than I thought they were going to be. Both have a shot at getting bowl eligible, but it's not going to happen because Texas Tech is on their schedule. So, overall, BYU still right there to get their revenge in the Big 12 title game, if they can. If nothing else, make the game close. But Utah's right there. At the last CFP rankings, and by the way, they're on a bye week, but last CFP rankings, they were number 13. Utah has Baylor, Kansas State, and Kansas left. They should run that table. If they don't, then screw them. They should run the table. They'll be favored in every game. They got the offense to do it. They got the defense that'll shut those teams down. They should be able to get it done. Now, are they going to play for a Big 12 title? That's you hear a lot of Utah fans talking trash. And by the way, my last video was about Utah fans needing to shut up. However, you can talk trash today based on Utah last week, College Game Day versus Cincinnati. They dominated Cincinnati. And then BYU this week, College Game Day, got dominated on College Game Day. Lights were a little too bright for BYU, but they were not too bright for Utah. So talk trash on that. That makes sense. That's logical trash talk, and you're more than welcome to do so. Not like any of you need my permission. BYU, they really need to run the table. At home versus TCU. TCU they'll get a lead on you, but they damn sure can't hold it. BYU will win that game. Cincinnati. BYU versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati's got a really good offense, but BYU can do a little something about that. They have to go on the road, but defense travels. BYU does have an explosive offense. Cincinnati does not have the defense to match up. So when I look at that matchup, BYU should be able to get that win. All apologies to the Bearcats. I love you guys. I've been a fan. I'm pulling for you. But in that game, BYU is going to be a little much. And then BYU has UCF at home. They'll take care of that business. Again, I've been a homer for UCF since before they got into the league. All right. I love the program. I love the Bounce House. That's the coolest name for a home stadium ever. However, BYU is going to be too much in Provo. They should go undefeated. There'll be a rematch in the Big 12 title game. Now, let's look at these rankings, CFP rankings. So what's going to happen, folks? What's going to happen? Because no team up here lost. None of them. A couple of them on a bye week, but nothing's going to happen there. But here's what's going to happen. Texas Tech, this is what I predict. Texas Tech beats BYU. Ole Miss beats the Citadel. Texas Tech is going to take over that 6-spot. Ole Miss, despite winning against the Citadel, will move down to the number 7. That's what's going to happen because they're not going to move Georgia, Alabama, or Texas A&M out of their spots. That ain't going to happen. Tech, that ain't going to happen. Sorry. But you will get number 6. I do believe that. Oregon will move up to number 8. Notre Dame, I don't like Notre Dame being in the top 10. I don't believe they should be in the top 10. But what's going to happen is BYU either is going to drop down to number 9, which I believe that should be the spot. They should drop down to number 9. Oregon moves up to number 8. But that's not what's going to happen. Notre Dame is going to move up to number 9, and BYU will drop down to number 10. That's because Texas, Oklahoma, and Utah, all three were on a bye. They're not going to move them. They're going to stay right there. All right. Now, we got to look at the ACC. My God. Virginia loses to Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a good team. But here's the thing. The CFP committee is not going to see that as a good loss. They're going to say, what? You lost to Wake freaking Forest? Louisville loses to Cal. And this committee is going to say, you lost to Cal? Even though Cal's 6-4. They're a bowl team. That ain't bad. Wake Forest 6-3. They're a bowl team. Those aren't bad teams. But the brands aren't great. What they're going to do to Virginia and Louisville is they're going to kick them right in the crotch. Hard. Very hard. As a matter of fact, Texas, Oklahoma, and Utah stay put. Virginia and Louisville, they're going down. Vanderbilt's going to go up to 14. The win against Auburn, they're going to like that win. They'll move them to 14, neck and neck with Utah. Virginia and Louisville is going to move down. Georgia Tech is going to move up to 15. This is my prediction for all of that crap. So if Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt get to move up a couple of spots, does that mean Virginia and Louisville just move down a couple of spots? One of two things happens here, folks. Virginia 16, Louisville 17, and then Miami and USC? Or does USC get to jump up a little bit ahead of Virginia and Louisville? That could happen. Miami's not going to get above Louisville just because there's that loss there. Louisville beat them. So they're not going to do that. Virginia, Virginia could get knocked down a little bit more, but I don't know. We'll just say for right now, even though it wouldn't shock me for them to put USC up, let's say they don't do that. So Virginia and Louisville, they go down to, 16, 17, respectively. Miami, I guess, will stay at 18, 19. USC could jump up above Virginia and Louisville at that point. Now, here's something that's interesting. Iowa, Missouri, and Washington. Iowa, Missouri, and Washington. So Michigan's going to move up to 20, at least 20, being on a bye week. So Iowa, Missouri, and Washington should be out of the top 25 at 6-3. Really, why the hell is Tennessee in there? That was shocking to me, but that's what they did. So they're not going to take Tennessee out. But definitely Washington losing to Wisconsin. Wisconsin? All right, Missouri, they're not going to kick them that bad in the junk for losing to A&M. Iowa, they're not going to kill them that bad, even though it's at home. Now, both these are home losses to Oregon. So here's what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Michigan's going to move up behind USC. Pittsburgh is going to be allowed to move up on a bye week to number 21. Michigan and Missouri, they're going to move down to 23 and 24. Washington is getting kicked out. They're gone. They're out of here. It should be Iowa and Missouri as well, but they're going to keep them in because they're bitches. And then Cincinnati, finally Cincinnati's going to get moved up, and they're going to move up here to around 22. So they'll be above Iowa, Missouri, and Tennessee. That's my prediction on what's going to happen at the lower end there. But I want to focus one more time here on the ACC. Only one of these teams is getting in. In other words, only 2 teams are going to have a shot at the CFP from the ACC. It's not going to be Miami. They're too far back. All right, but let's just work our way down here. Georgia Tech. Any more losses here for Georgia Tech? They're at home against Pitt. I kind of like them at home against Pitt. They're at home against Georgia. I don't like them against Georgia. I just don't. You got a problem with NC State? You're going to have a problem with Georgia. That's kind of how I see it. They'll beat the hell out of Boston College. So, one more loss for Georgia Tech, but that'll be out of conference. They'll play for the title. Virginia. Oh, Virginia. They got Duke coming up. Duke, going on the road to Duke scares me because you could not defend your home court against Wake freaking Forest. All right. You'll take care of Virginia Tech. But Duke, if they lose that game, and there's a good shot they will, if they lose that game, here's Pitt. They got a loss coming up to Notre Dame. And look, I'm going to be pulling for Pitt. If you're a West Virginia fan, pull for Pitt. It helps us. If Notre Dame loses, the Big 12 will get 3 teams in this bitch. They'll get 3 teams in if Pitt gets knocked out. Maybe 3. I mean, it increases our chances, let's say that. I shouldn't overstate it. I should not overstate it. Anyway. Pitt then goes to Georgia Tech. I don't like that game for them. They're at home versus Miami. Ooh, it should be Miami. But I don't know. I don't know. Here's the team I love right here. SMU. 9-3 SMU. They're at home. They got a bye week. Then they're at home versus Louisville. And they go to Cal. I got SMU. At home versus Louisville, yes. Cal is not that good. Cal should not have won that game. SMU will take care of that business. They'll take care of that business. And look out. SMU, this is what I think is going to happen. SMU is going to play for the ACC title yet again with a 9-3 record. Pitt, Virginia, they're going to lose games. That's what I think is going to happen. They're going to lose games. And SMU is going to sneak in there. They're going to play Georgia Tech. And folks, here's my old, right now, this is what I believe. This is what I think is destined to happen. SMU played for an ACC title last year against Clemson, 9-3 Clemson, and they got beat. It'll be the exact opposite this year. SMU will take care of business against Georgia. Yeah, so my prediction, insanely, is that SMU will win the ACC coming out of nowhere. Insane. Anyway, that I just wanted to touch on that. Now let's look at the Big Ten Oregon beat Iowa barely. They escaped. They survived. And now you got USC to worry about. You got Michigan. No, I'm not worried about Michigan. Michigan's going to lose to Ohio State. So they're not going to be the 4 team in. USC, look, they got Iowa. Who knows what happens there, but they got them at home. Then they have to go to Eugene. All right, and it's like I've been saying, I think it's just destined that Oregon is going to be that team. They're going to be that team, the 3rd team from the Big Ten to get in. You know, I think Iowa, that was the best chance for Oregon to lose, and possibly the Big Ten only getting 2 teams into the CFP, which that is it still possible? Can USC beat Oregon and then lose to Iowa? That's a scenario, and it's one that I would not count on right now. So I kind of thought Oregon would run the table, and it's looking that way. I don't like it, but that's kind of the way it's looking. And with the SEC, we got to worry about Vanderbilt. If you're a Big 12 team, Big 12 fan, that is. They got Kentucky, Tennessee on the road versus Tennessee, but who has Tennessee beat this year? How about a big fat freaking nobody? Nobody. 3-loss Tennessee has beaten nobody. Vanderbilt, if they win against Vanderbilt, that is their best win of the season. I don't know that they beat Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has actually beat some good damn teams this year. We're going to have to worry about them because, look, A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, they're all getting in. Texas, they're going to get knocked out by Georgia. Oklahoma, they're going to get knocked out by Alabama. So it comes down to Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt could very well run that table. And if they do, could they be the 5th team in? It just depends. All right. Because will they take a 10-2 Vanderbilt over BYU if they lose the Big 12 title game? No. I don't want to just say no offhand. It doesn't look like they will. But if BYU gets blown out for a second time, this time on a neutral site game in Arlington against Texas Tech, that could happen. That's a danger. So it's not a lock. It's not a lock that the Big 12 gets 2 teams in right now. Although, I would say that's the highest percentage chance. But there's a chance Vanderbilt. Because, like I said, I think they're going to move up to the 14 spot. And then we got to wait and see with Texas and Oklahoma. And when they catch their losses, I believe Utah will jump ahead. And so will Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt will get up in there. But Oregon runs the table, they stay in. Notre Dame, I'm sorry, it's only Pitt. Only Pitt has a chance to beat Notre Dame. And I don't see that happening, even though it's at home. But they're the only ones that have an actual shot of knocking out Notre Dame and knocking them out of the playoff. If Notre Dame, like I said, I'm a huge Pitt fan now. I'm a monster Pitt fan now. Let's go. Miracle that shit, Pitt. Miracle it. If you want to play for a damn ACC title, beat Notre Dame. So if Notre Dame drops out, here comes Utah. Here comes Utah. For 3. 3! Or would they put Vanderbilt ahead of Utah? I don't think they would. So in closing, it's going to be a freaking wild end to the college football experience this year. And why is it so wild? Because we have a 12-team playoff. This is why it needs to go to 24, because it'll even get wilder, more entertaining, more fun. I swear to God, there's so many people out there that are scared to have fun. What's wrong with fun? What's wrong with a little chaos? It's all good. It's all good. It's good for every conference, for every program. But we're not there yet. We're still in the 12-team playoff. The Big 12, the most likely outcome is for us to get 2 teams in. Tech is going to be in. Tech, win or lose in the Big 12 title game, because you're not losing on the way to the title game, but win or lose in the title game, you're in. You're in. And it should be, there should be another team that from the Big 12 that also gets in. We should get 2 this year. Is what I'm trying to say. We're trying to mumble through. We should get 2 in. There's still a small chance for 3. But a lot of things have to happen. All right. USC has to beat Oregon. And then Iowa has to beat USC. Tennessee has to beat Vanderbilt. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of things have to go perfectly right for Utah to get in there. Or whatever the third Big 12 team to get in there. Really, it's going to be really difficult, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Thanks for watching this crap. And I'll be back with some more crap later. Bye.